Hi, YouTube family. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you might be. This is Escape from Crazytown, our Happy Crappy Hour live stream every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, USA. So I'm glad to have you guys today. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to hop on. Hey, John, good morning. Good to see you. So glad to see you, actually. Saw you last time after the live stream it had gone through, and I was like, oh, John had hopped on. That was awesome. So, you guys, today I want to talk about something that seems like, it doesn't even matter or is such a small thing, gratitude, right? With a narcissist. I don't think people really think about that too often with narcissism. But I want to explore that because it really gives you a window into their crazy, twisted way of thinking. And once you understand that, you'll have a better understanding of how or why they treated you the way they do, and why they treat other people the way they do. Like really horrible people. Why do they treat horrible people well and they treat good people badly? So it has to do with gratitude and the way they see gratitude, or the way they twist gratitude in their crazy world. So before we get into that, I wanted to tell you what my happies and crappies were this week. Let me see. My crappy this week was that I had I don't know what it's sort of like eczema break out on my hands. And this is what happens when it's happened a few times in my life, like the highest stress times in my life, my skin breaks out. And what I mean by breaking out is it will split. It just, it will act as if my skin is so dry. And if you can imagine the desert with the parched land where there are cracks everywhere, that's what my hands become like. And at my fingertips and everywhere the joints are, wherever you have a crease in your joint on your hands there, that splits and it bleeds and it's horrible. It just feels extremely painful to touch anything. So that happened this week, and I was like, what is going on? Am I dehydrated? So I was tanking up, trying to drink a lot of water, and I generally do drink plenty of water. So it was my husband, though, who who called my attention to why my hands were cracking. And he says, it's your mom. And I realized at that moment that he was right. It's the stress. Even though, you know, if you have a narcissist still in your life and you think you are in control of it and you think that you're handling it pretty well, you're not even interacting with them on a daily basis, but the few times you do interact with them, it seems to go pretty well because you're in control and you have your boundaries set and all that. But I think the bottom line, though, is there will be times that even though you're in control, they are so frustrating and their world is so illogical. You keep trying to rationalize and you want to make sense of it and you want to be able so badly to bring them into reality with you that your body starts to respond. Even though your mind is calm and your mind is on target and you're focused and you're very healthy minded, your body will show the stress that the toxic person is having on you, the effect of the stress on you. And once I acknowledged that, I had to really go into what I was feeling about my mom. And if you had watched the last couple of weeks of a Happy Crappy Hour, you'll know her couple of crazy things that have come up, oh my goodness, accusing somebody, one of her relatives, one of her siblings, of murdering their father. I think it was 34 years ago, not 36. I think in the video I said 36, but it was 34 years ago. Even so, I mean, over 3 decades ago, for crying out loud, and he was on his deathbed. And not understanding what she was really accusing her sibling of and what she expected everybody to do in response to that. She did not understand the gravity of her accusation. And then number two, the fact that she wanted to use me again and and smear my reputation with the rest of the family in order to get out of something that she didn't want to do anymore. The fact that she didn't see the problem with that, she wanted to preserve her own reputation and smear mine because in her world that makes total sense. It's the stress of that on my body showed up in my hand, so that was my crappy. But once I recognized that, actually, my hands have been starting to get better, so that's a good thing. So I guess the crappy, what I'm learning from that is that even though I have a narcissist still in my life, and even though there are a couple of narcissists that will go in or come in and out of my life, I have to really keep the interaction limited. And not only that, I have to cleanse my mind and my body of the stresses that they bring into my life when I do interact with them. And that's all dependent on me, and that's all my choice and my ability to do. So that's a good thing. I'm learning that I even have more control than I realized, even in the subconscious or psychological effects that it might have on me. I still have choices in the physical, conscious world of limiting contact with them, of being real with myself about what's going on here and what I'm willing to do, what I'm not willing to do, and also recuperation time. You just absolutely need to give yourself time to recuperate. And I think that a lot of times we don't because we think, okay, we're done with them, we walked away, we're good. But make sure if you start to feel ill, if your body starts behaving in bizarre ways, right? If you start getting aches and pains when you didn't do anything to get those aches and pains, or in my case, your skin breaks out, realize that, oh my goodness, it's because of this interaction you had with the narcissist. So just be aware of that. Be aware that you can fix that. Okay, you guys, so that was my crappy. My happy was that I've been doing yoga. Yay! For the last, I guess this week's the second week that I found yoga classes at our public library. So I want to encourage you guys to go and do that. Go check out your public library, see what they have available in classes. They have all kinds of classes to make things, to program. They'll teach you programming. They'll teach you how to, oh gosh, weld. I mean, it's just insane the things that they have. They'll teach you how to sew. They'll teach you how to paint. It's great. So check that out for yourself. It's a really good thing. It's calming, and it also improves your life. It gives your life a lot of more depth and enjoyment. So I got to do that. I got to do that this week. Went to yoga, let me think, 3 times since last week. So twice, no wait, twice last week and twice this week. So 4 times. Yeah, it's been great. My body's been feeling a lot better. The skin on my hands, not so much, but the rest of my body has been feeling so good. And the tension that you carry, you don't realize you're tensing your neck. You don't realize you're tensing your shoulders or your back. And that affects the rest of your body. So you're walking around and you're feeling like you can't bend this way or that, or your neck kind of hurts. Doing yoga just releases a lot of that. Anyway, that's been my happy. I'm so happy that I found this. We put it on our schedule. We are like, yeah, we are good to go now. I'm so looking forward to the next few months of doing this and how I'm going to feel by the end of January and February. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys. So on to the topic today. Let me just check on you guys and see how everybody's doing. Jihad, good to see you. Free Spirit, good to see you. John says, the truth is now I still think of her, but my health issues outweigh that situation now. Yeah. I want to figure out what you mean by that, John. Yeah, you say, John says, I'm amazed I have been in no contact for 3 months time. Oh, for 3 months. Time really flies. Yeah. Hi, universe. And Amanda, good to see you here. Yeah. So, John, what are you saying? That your health issues outweigh that situation? Does that mean you're putting your health first now? just want to, or are you having such bad health um, responses to her that you want to pull yourself away and go no contact and start to heal? So yeah, while you're explaining that, or maybe typing up, oh, you said yes. Okay. So yeah, you're putting your health first. Yeah, isn't that true? We forget to put our health first. We think we can handle this and take on the stress and take on and sacrifice our own bodies, our own physical health to to put ourselves out there, sort of in the line of fire, right, of the narcissist and interact with them. We have no concern for our own bodies, our own health, and we'll be willing to put our bodies out there and our mind, our mental health, our own security to help them, to interact with them, to give more and more to them. Which now brings us to our topic today, which is gratitude. So all the things you do for the narcissist, all the sacrifices you make for them, um, all the times you were loyal to them, it takes from you. But they don't really see it that way. They don't see that you're giving them anything. They don't, they just assume you're doing it, well, because you want to, for one, so they don't owe you anything. And secondly, they don't see the big deal. They don't see that whatever you're doing for them is that big of a deal. So let's talk about this. I started thinking about three of the people in my life, three of the narcissists in my life, and how they react to gratitude and how they, um, how do they show it or how do they not show it, and what must they be thinking because of the way they're behaving. So I started realizing like they'll do nice things for certain people, and I think there are two situations they'll actually do things for people. One is they've idealized somebody, so they're going to do good things for the person they have idealized. Um, and in idealizing, they might also have like great pity for that person. Okay, that's another thing. They may actually pity somebody, and I've talked about this before that their pity, may show up and look like empathy, but the empathy is towards people who are just as rotten as they are. It's like people that they can relate to and they feel bad for, because they see themselves in that person. Not the bad part, of course. They see, like, how do I put this? They see like the world comes against that person just like the world comes against them. So they kind of identify with that person. And that person comes back to them again and again and pretty much like, bows at their feet. They'll pity that person and they'll do nice things for that person. And I'll explain a specific situation with a specific narcissist in a minute and how that looks. They also do things for people they idealize. So someone they kind of want something from, right? Something somebody that they put on a pedestal, just like they did for you, right? When they were idealizing you, they'll do nice things for you. It's that love bombing stage. So these are things they'll do for you. And why I talk about gratitude is because they'll do this and out of and in a way sacrifice for the person, that they're idealizing. Now, they'll do really nice things for other people, but they'll expect the other person to be grateful. They demand gratitude from the other person. They want a quid pro quo. They want you to respond, to give back to them what they gave to you. Now, they're not grateful towards those they've devalued. Okay, so a person who's been devalued in their life, who does good things or nice things for them. Okay, so I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. The person that they had pitied, when that person that they have pitied does a nice thing for them, they think, oh, you see, I knew that that person is worthy of my attention and my pity because that person's bowing at their feet. That person's trying to do some night, kind of like puts on a show of standing up for them. again, I'll tell you more specifically why I even say that this one particular narcissist that I saw doing this. The person that they idealize, when that person does something nice for them, they'll say, yeah, they like that. They, I guess in a way appreciate that because they want the idealized person to notice them, to pour their gratitude or their favor onto the narcissist. So they love that. Now, someone that they have devalued, someone that uh, they don't respect, someone that they don't think is worthy of much, someone maybe that's lower status than they are in the social standing or financially, or someone less intellectual than they are. If that person does something for them, they won't they won't value it at all. They don't care. They're not going to be grateful. Like, because you have no value, what you do for me, I'll take it. That's the way they'll think. I'll take it, but I don't value it. I don't owe you anything because it's coming from a person, to, according to them, that has no worth. So whatever that person does for them, they'll take it. They'll take the benefit of it, but they won't feel like they owe the person anything. That's the way they see gratitude. And if you see yourself in a relationship with a narcissist and you see yourself doing stuff for them and you're like, oh my gosh, I always remember their birthday, I always give them a gift, I always am there for them when they're sick, bringing them soup, I whenever they call, I respond to them, I don't ever put them off, you're a good friend to them. They don't care. They're like, yeah, 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 that's nice, great. You should be doing this stuff for me. Or they just don't, they're like, yeah, that's nice. And they don't value the time, the effort, the money, anything that you've put into it to do these nice things for them because they don't value you. If they don't value you, they're not going to value what you do for them. And no matter how much you do for them, they're not going to value it. And we'll get into some more specifics about that. Let me see, you guys. Yeah. So I want to tell you about this one narcissist I knew. She was kind of the covert narcissist. I've spoken about her before, where we had been friends for over a decade and there were red flags all over the place. But I felt so bad for her because she had so many misfortunes, I guess. Um, and you just kind of always felt like, wow, she is such a victim and been victimized, and she's such a fighter and she's such a survivor, and you want to be there and support this person. And you know what, I didn't I felt really stupid at the end of our relationship because I thought, I had seen the red flags. I knew she was very materialistic. I knew that she did not uh she did not value affairs of the heart or things that matter. She valued appearance. She valued how other people saw her. She valued how she saw other people. She valued the person more if they drove a nice car. That type of thing. And I should have been more aware. I should have known. And I look back and I think, how did I just miss this? Okay, and not only that, I didn't understand or know about narcissistic personality disorder, but once I learned about it, I was like, holy cow, she falls right into the description. Um, I didn't pay attention to how she treated her kids and how her kids were turning out. They were coming out just as narcissistic. The oldest one was just horrid, horrid. But she blamed it on, the beginning of his life and how hard it was for him. But here's the truth of it. He was not aware of the beginning of his life. He was adopted way, when he was born. So he was not aware where he'd come from. Now, he learned about where he had come from, and then she just used that as an excuse for the rest of his life, for all his bad behavior. She enabled so much of his bad behavior. So now this is bringing me back to when I had said the people that narcissists do nice things for, pity, or forgive so much, are usually really horrible people just like them. Like this kid was able, and he's not a kid anymore, he's an adult now. He was able to rob her repeatedly. He was able to threaten the younger siblings and torment them and bully them all of their childhood. He was able to, do the other things that a lot of kids do, which is drugs and alcohol and sleeping around. That's kind of the normal for a lot of teenagers. So, what I want to focus on though is that he would take it way beyond that, right? Like I said, he would rob her. It got to the point where she had to buy an alarm system that had cameras to figure out how in the heck he kept breaking into her house as a teenager. She had to kick him out because he kept robbing her. So she put up an alarm system, and not only that, he ran away. So that I don't know that she actually kicked him out. I think he ran away because she had rules and he didn't want to follow them. Well, she set up this alarm system and found out how he was able to break into her house repeatedly. And one of those times he stole her wedding ring and pawned it. Her friends would call her and say, "Hey, I think I saw your designer purse or your clothing on Craigslist or eBay or whatever it was he was posting it on." And sure enough, she'd go on. She's like, "Yeah, that is. Those are mine." And, he had sold her things. Okay, so a narcissist who sees a really terrible, and here's the deal too. He used other people. He used other kids. He was a bully. He was just a total jerk. But once in a while, once in a blue moon, he would do something nice to her or for her. He would say things like, "I just so appreciate you, Mom," or "Thank you, Mom," or he would supposedly act as if he's all traumatized if she got uh, hurt by somebody else. Like she was dating a bunch of different guys. And there was one guy in particular that she was distraught over. And so he wanted to go face that guy and defend his mom. And I'm like, really? Really? This guy's one of the best guys ever who treated his mom so well, but his mom smeared this guy so badly to her own children that the kids devalued him, and the narcissistic son wanted to, face that guy and put him in his place. And I was like, really? And to her that was great. She thought that this kid had her back. I'm like, okay, how does he have your back when he continually robs you? And she was not a rich person. She was a single mom living on welfare, and he's robbing her. Like, seriously, Uh, and he knew it too. And she would tell him how much it hurt her that he kept doing this, and he would keep doing it. Like, he didn't care. They have such a twisted relationship that when he does one thing or, says, most of the time it's just talk. When he says something nice to her, that means the world. The world. When other people have stuck by her, her relatives, holy cow, her relatives have stuck by her throughout all this mess of her single motherhood. And all the time she screwed up, they stood by her. And they would tell her, "We're here for you, anything you need." But I remember she used to smear them all the time. I remember the talks we've had, and she was such a huge gossip. I tried to tell her, like, don't tell me stuff about people that I know, but she figured I didn't really know her family. So she would smear her family to me all the time, telling me all about their background, all the tawdry things they had done, sort of like soap opera type stuff, who slept with who cheated on whom, that type of thing, and what she thought of them, and she doesn't like them, and she doesn't respect them. And yet here they are, they're the ones who kept, putting out their hand and saying, for instance, taking her on vacation with them, like paying full ride, everything for her and her kids to go on vacation with them, on cruises, on going out of the country, going to other countries. They would pay for her. They would buy her all kinds of things. So did she appreciate that from them? No. Where was her gratitude? Her gratitude was towards the son, who was an abuser, user, narcissist, just like her. Was her gratitude towards her family, who put out all kinds of, they sacrificed so much for her financially, time wise. They took care of her kids for her constantly because they wanted her to have a life, and not always have to watch the kids. They provided for the kids like a very nice lifestyle. They're on welfare, and yet the in-laws, the family had $1 million house. Okay, so they had a lot of money. They would take them four-wheeling the kids. They would take them camping. They'd go. They had, I think, property out in the mountains, so they would go out of town and week-long vacations out in the mountains and stuff like that. They'd gone on cruises. They would take her and the kids all over and do all kinds of things for them. Was she grateful for them? No, not at all. She smeared them. She talked trash about them. She smeared their character to people like me who didn't know them very well at all. I met them a couple of times, but I was not involved in their life. Another person that she would smear and was not grateful for was her supposed best friend. Oh my gosh, I heard so many stories about her supposed best friend, who, and she smeared this woman's character, acting as if this woman was such a user and always came over and borrowed things from her constantly, and they didn't like that. And I'm like, okay, why do you keep telling me this stuff? And I try to change the subject and do other things. But I remember looking back like, oh my gosh, why did I not see this? Why did I not? So this best friend who was also there for her through thick and thin, through the divorce, through those, single motherhood stuff, she was there for her. Was she grateful for that? Oh my gosh, here's another thing. She went to her best friend's daughter's baby shower, I guess. The best friend had moved out to another state, so she went to the baby shower. She comes back and I'm like, oh, how was it? Did you have a good time? And usually people are like, yeah, it was really great. I got to spend time with her, got to spend time with the daughter who, she had known since she was a kid. No, she says it was no big deal. It was not that big, it was okay. I was like, why would you just put down your best friend's, celebration here? It was such a blessing that you got invited. It was such a blessing that you got to see her, But no, she just was not grateful. She was not appreciative. She didn't see the good. She didn't um, focus on what the relationship was. She didn't see that. But the one person that she keeps praising, oh my gosh, and it's like I remember her talking about her son, the narcissist, right? And telling me how much she appreciated that he would stand up to her boyfriend, for her. And what I mean by standing up was that this narcissist friend of mine was in turmoil with her boyfriend because he wanted to marry her. She didn't want to marry him. Then she tells him, well, you need to date other people because I don't think I'm the one for you. So he does. He dates somebody, and she gets upset that he dated somebody. And so she considers that cheating on her. So now she has told her kids that this guy cheats on her and makes her feel like dirt, and he's so horrible, and he doesn't understand how devastated she is that he cheated on her. So this is why the son stood up to this guy to say, hey, what's your deal with my mom? Why did you cheat on her? That's what he wanted to do to face him. And the story was that he didn't really cheat on her, but he was forced to act as if and agree to her assessment of what happened. He had to agree to, okay, I'm so sorry that I hurt you. I'm so sorry that I did this to you. I'm so sorry that I was with this other woman, and act as if he was this cheater. And he wasn't. He wasn't a cheater. She told him to go and date other people. Anyway, so here's the deal. The gratitude they have for people is so distorted and twisted They don't appreciate those they've already devalued, or those that um, they they'll still take from them. Like she still will take from her family, her in-laws. She'll still take from her best friend. Yeah, nothing will stop that. But is she grateful for them the way she acts grateful towards the narcissistic son? No, no. So that's one story I wanted to talk to you about and what that looks like. The other story there are two more stories I want to tell you of what gratitude looks like with these narcissists. Um, One is, okay, so this other narcissist I know, by the way, all of them have this jealousy, huge, huge jealousy. But the example I will give you for this other narcissist is it's the one that's my mom. She's so jealous, I think, of her siblings. And the crazy thing is, it's not like they have a lot compared to her, let's say financially, although one of them does. One of them has kids who are doing very well. And so she also is doing well financially because her kids share with her. She lives with one of her children. She and her husband both live with one of her children. And they live in this beautiful mansion like house, which I think my mom is super jealous of. I don't think that my mom likes this sibling. This is the sibling that she accuses of murdering their father 34 years ago. And I'm like, why? Why would you bring this up? And the reason is because she wants to make sure that everybody treats this sibling badly. Everybody will ostracize this sibling and will maybe even report her to the police for what she did. She thinks that this sibling murdered their father by giving him a dose or an injection of poison on his deathbed while he had been unconscious for several days and he was dying, and he was on morphine to ease the pain as he was dying. She believes that during this time, that's when her sibling decided to murder the dad. And I'm like, are you serious? It doesn't even make sense that's when you decide to murder somebody. Their father had lived with this sibling pretty much all of her life, because he and the grandmother, my grandfather and grandmother moved in, or she moved in with them, I guess. So they shared the same house for all of her adulthood until she got married, remarried, let me say, to the second husband, who then, after my grandfather passed away, she remarried, and then my grandmother moved in with her. Anyway, I know this sounds really complicated. Here's the deal. The jealousy drives the narcissist to never, ever see anything good from the person they're jealous of. So this other sibling, she has tried over and over again, repeatedly, to hand out an olive branch, right? To reach out with an olive branch, to have peace with my mom. And it just doesn't happen. My mom constantly wants to have drama with this sibling because she looks at it and she's jealous also that the other siblings get along with her. She's so jealous that the other siblings have a relationship with this the sister, and it doesn't matter how well that sibling has treated her. It doesn't matter that sibling, when my mom goes to visit her family or is out there, this sibling wants, to host her, wants to take care of her, wants to have a relationship with her, tries to spend time with her, tries to include her in everything. And my mom wants to just fight constantly with her. It doesn't matter what the sibling will do for her. She just will not appreciate it. And not only that, she'll throw it in her face and then try to backstab her. This is what they do. The jealousy in a narcissist will drive them to this insanity, this behavior. I mean, to the point where she's accusing the sibling of murder, for crying out loud, right? And wants everybody in the family to believe that the sibling has murdered their father, and therefore, what does that entail? If all the other siblings believe this, then they have to ostracize her. They have to never talk to her again for the rest of their life, at the very least. And at the most, report her to the police, right? Get her arrested, sent to jail, and have her live out the rest of her elderly life in jail. What the heck, right? So be very careful. You think you can be nice to them. You think you can, reach out with an olive branch. You think that you can try to build a relationship with them. But if they are jealous of you, they will never ever be loyal to you. They will never appreciate anything you do for them. They will not. It doesn't matter if you put them as the beneficiary of your will. They will still gosh, that will give them even more reason to come against you and get rid of you sooner, right? Another thing that I noticed with this particular narcissist too is that there are other siblings that are not doing as well, so not as much for her to be jealous of, and yet she still does not appreciate anything that they do for her. Nothing. They try with their meager finances. They try to do things for her. They try to buy her things for her birthday or for Christmas, and they include her in their family gatherings, and they know she's by herself a lot. She doesn't live near me, and she doesn't want to travel out to see me. So I'm like, that's fine, because it's boring. To her, it's boring at my house because we don't sit around gossiping about everybody. So she likes to visit her siblings, who gossips to about the rest of the family, and who put up with that. And not only do they put up with it, a lot of them actually engage in the gossip. So she enjoys that. So let me just preface with that. But they know she's alone during holidays, and so they'll invite her to join their families because she lives near them, to spend time with them. They'll cook and clean for her. They'll provide, a nice bed for her, a nice room for her. They'll buy her gifts. Their kids treat her well. Does she appreciate any of that? No. No, she doesn't. She has no gratitude for that. She never. And the last thing I heard is one of them, out of their meager, tiny bit of Social Security, bought her I don't know if it was a used iPad, but it was probably an older iPad, and put onto it programs that she knew my mom would like. And my mom is so non-technical, so her sister knew to put only 2 or 3 things, like her email and Facebook. I think that's all she put on there, and so that she can check these things without being confused, right? And she loves going on Facebook to see what everybody's doing. She loves to check her email. So the sister did this for her, bought her this tablet, put just these 2 things on there for her, set everything up for her so it would be real easy to log in, very simple logins, very simple passwords that my mom would remember. Does she appreciate that? Has she told me how much she appreciates that? No, not at all. The only thing I ever hear and have heard from her since Christmas was that when she received this gift, she never even mentioned this gift. All she mentions are the negative things that she thinks about this sibling. She only points out how little respect she has for this sibling because this sibling is not financially smart, right? Not financially wise. And she puts down this sibling because of her poverty status. I'm just like, what the heck? Why are you so ungrateful? Why can't you see the good that this sibling did for you? But they just don't. They don't. They're jealous. They're jealous of everyone. They're even jealous of people who don't have very much, because at least this sibling has a relationship, a very, actually pretty good relationship with her kids. So I think that she's jealous of that. They find things, they find things to be jealous of. They see what somebody has that they don't have, and then they're jealous. And it doesn't matter then if that person does anything for them. And even sacrifices a lot for them, they won't see it. They won't notice it. They won't be grateful for it. So I just wanted to share that story. There's one more story I wanted to share with you guys. Hold on, you guys. Let me see if I am. Here we go. There are a couple of you guys. Carmen, good to see you. And Charlotte, good to see you. Okay, so there's this last story I want to share with you about gratitude and what it looks like. So there's, I have, how do I put it? So I have this other narcissist, not quite in my life, in the periphery of my life, because it's a relative, it's an uncle. So I'm not in his life, but I remember how violent he had always been with the people in his life. So I don't really want to be exposed to that. And I don't want any of my kids to be exposed to that either. So pretty much, and you know what? Our circles are not the same. I don't run in the same circles he does. We don't even live near each other. So I don't have interaction with him. But I do know about him and what's going on with him because he lives off of my mom. Yes. So the two narcissists in the family stick close. Now they weren't always close. They were actually, and now it's hard to say that narcissists can be close to anybody. They are in use of each other, right? They use each other. So she loves to use him to try to turn him against other people in the family. And she loves it when he, if you will, stands up for her, just like my friend and her son, when the narcissistic son stands up for her against other people. So same thing with my mom. She loves it when her brother stands up for her against the rest of the family who are trying to be nice to her. And he totally uses her. He lives off of her. That's the bottom line. He totally lives. He doesn't have to live off of her. He draws a retirement, but he lives in one of her residences. She had a residence in one state and then she moved to another state. And so she just let him live. And at first she was renting out that residence and he wanted to move in. So she let him move in. So she rented out just certain rooms in that residence, right, to help pay for the utilities and help pay for the maintenance and help pay for the property tax, things that are going to cost her money just to keep the home. Well, he moves in and he does not pay rent. He doesn't pay for the utilities. He doesn't pay for the property tax. He doesn't help out. She says that he's helping out, but I've been there and I'm like, what the heck is he helping out with? Like creating mold in this place because it smelled like mold and it was dank and it was wet. It was just horrible. And I thought, what the heck does she think that he's doing? Like he cleans up after himself when he uses the kitchen. And then to her, she says that's him maintaining the place. Okay. So then she rents out these rooms to help pay for the cost of keeping the house. And guess what? He creates such an environment that the other person cannot even live in there. They don't even want to come home because he's such a jerk to them when they come home. So they stay away from the house as much as possible and they only come back to the house to sleep. And even then, he causes such trouble for them that he tells my mother that he wants them out of the house. And she kicks them out of the house. It's insane. And these are people who are paying rent. So now she says she won't rent out any of the rooms because he, okay, here's the Crazytown stuff. You're probably thinking, why? Why would she do this? Why wouldn't she just kick him out and then have the financial benefit of other people living in her house and she'll be able to rent it out and maybe even make money off of it, right? Nope, because that would mean she would have no control over him anymore and how she can use him as a pawn in her drama and her battles with her other siblings. She wants to keep him as a loyal supply against the other siblings. Now, here's the deal. He's a narcissist too. So he's only loyal as long as he knows he can use her, right? So she's his supply. He will be loyal to her as far as he can use her. And this brings me to how he behaves grateful, if you will. I mean, I put that say that term very loosely in his case. He's grateful to her that he can use her. He's grateful that, so he actually holds back his violence towards her. He holds back his anger towards her. He'll show anger and violence towards the other siblings and towards other people and even his own wife, who actually lives there with him. So the two of them are using my mom's house in order to live for free in a very expensive area where there's no way you could even live for free. Let me explain to you. To rent a, I think even townhouse in that area or in that town, in that city, would cost $3,000 a month just to rent a townhouse in that city. And it might even be more now. It might be up to $3,500 just to rent a townhouse. He's living there absolutely free. And it wasn't even until recently that she suggested that he pay $200 a month that goes towards some of the utilities. Because the utilities, I think, are costing them about $400 a month. But he's giving her $200 a month. And I'm not even sure that he's doing that, actually. He probably isn't. She probably requires it, but he's not doing it. So here's the deal. This type of narcissist, or actually all narcissists, if they look like, oh, but he's being nice to my mom, he's not arguing with her, he's not being violent with her, he's treating her much differently than he treats other people, right? It even looks like he's respectful towards her. So it might even look like he's grateful towards her, but that's not the case. The case is that he's using her. So he will hold back his narcissistic abuse towards her so that he can continue to use her. And that's what the gratitude is. Like, they're grateful for being if you will, I hate to say that term again, but they will take advantage of the person who's willing to give to them. And they will do their bidding even. He'll speak up for her at times because he knows he can use her. And I think that's the case too with my friend and her son, because the son knows that at any time he can always go back to his mom and stay at her house. Like when he's homeless, when everybody has kicked him out, when he has nowhere else to go, he will stay with her and sleep on her floor, if he has to. But, there's a bed there. But he'll stay at her house and for free, rent free. So it's the same situation. And he'll stand up for her, if you will, right, against the boyfriend, for the perception, to make her think that he loves her. But really, he's using her. So narcissists will use other narcissists. And narcissists will give to other narcissists in order to control them, in order to kind of pin them down and keep them loyal, right? As long as they know the other narcissist needs them and they provide something for that other narcissist that keeps them alive, right? Like a house or money, then they will do that in order to gain the allegiance or loyalty from that narcissist. And they'll demand it too. Like, okay, I give you this. Now, there's this expectation that you're going to stand up for me. You're going to take my side when there's an argument. You're going to come against the people that I am against. And they have to put on that show in order to continue this super psychotic relationship. Oh my gosh, you guys. So that is what it looks like when a narcissist, you might look at these relationships from the outside and you think, how is it that they get along? Why do they, why are they helping each other? Wow, this person is extending their home rent free, not expecting anything back, but there is an expectation. There's maybe not a financial expectation of repayment, but there's an expectation of loyalty, right, to their psycho world and their psycho stances and their psycho battles with other people, there is an expectation that the person they're doing something for has to have their back. And that's so dangerous, by the way, with narcissists, because narcissists will turn on each other and there's no real loyalty with them. There's only pretend or an appearance of loyalty. But oh my gosh. And this leads us maybe to another point, is that narcissists are not that bright. They would prefer someone appear loyal to them than someone who really is loyal to them. I don't know if you understand that. Someone that they can use and appear as base as they are and will fight as dirty as they do. They would rather have the appearance of loyalty from that person and believe that that person will be loyal to them. That's how unintelligent they are. Like someone who is, is a horrible person who backstabs everybody, but then comes to you and says they're loyal to you. That's not true, right? Someone that gossips about everybody in town and then tells you that you can trust them with your secrets. You know better. That's not true. There's no way that someone who is such a scum to everybody else around them is not going to be a shining example of citizenry, right? Towards you, or a loyal friend, or a loyal spouse. That. But a narcissist enjoys and appreciates people who fight as dirty as they do. And if that person says, I'll be loyal to you, the narcissist wants to believe that because they feel like they have a weapon now. They have somebody on their side who will do their bidding. But here's the deal. These people are not totally loyal to the narcissist either. These people totally backstab the narcissist with the people that they think that the narcissist thinks that they're standing up against. If the narcissist enemy gives these people anything that's beneficial to them, they will turn on a dime against the narcissist. So that's where we don't want to be in that situation. We don't want to be concerned like how it looks and be mesmerized or jealous or confused by the narcissist as being so good to these horrible people and so bad to us. You just have to wash your hands of that and not care, because they're going to get backstabbed. They're going to be deceived, and they're going to be thrown under the bus by these horrible people. So for us to be concerned that the narcissist is acting so good and being so generous to these horrible people, there's a reason for it. And it looks like that they're grateful for these horrible people, but they're not grateful to good people, to the people who really are loyal to them, who really do care about them, who do have their back, because they have devalued you. They have devalued me. They don't see us any more than what they can use us for. And we don't fight dirty enough for them, and we don't do their dirty bidding. So we're not as valuable to them. So don't worry if they're not grateful for you. Just recognize that you don't need to keep doing stuff for them. You just don't. You don't have to keep doing things for them. In fact, they need you more than you need them. That's how you have to be in control of the situation. That's how the situation should be for you, is you have to extricate yourself to the point where you don't need them at all. And that's the only way I can have a relationship with a narcissist, is if I know I don't need them at all. And that means then I'm willing to give what I'm willing to give and never see it back again, of course. Never returned, no gratitude, no quid pro quo. So whatever I give it as a gift, and that is it. Out of the goodness of my heart and out of the caring of my heart. And that's what I do with my mom. Whatever I give to her is because I care about her and I'm willing to give this regardless of what she does with it. And regardless of how she treats me back towards, right? Except for she cannot cross that boundary of violence and attacking me being verbally abusive, physically abusive, I have that line. But because she's my mom and I hate to go into that. It's not an excuse because I have friends whose parents are violent towards them, who are verbally abusive towards them every time they see them. And my advice is not to stay. No, because what the heck, the narcissist has not respected that boundary. Um, but I know that my mom is incapable of having a real relationship with me. So I don't expect that. I don't expect her to suddenly have my back. Like I know that's not going to happen. So do I need her to have my back? No, I don't. I don't need her to know people in my life, and I don't need her to be plugged into my life in a huge way at all. Whatever I give to her, like I said, is what I'm willing to give to her. And that is my relationship with her. I don't expect gratitude. I don't expect acknowledgement. I don't, I just, whatever I do for her, I do because I think, oh, this will make her happy. I'll send her flowers, or I'll call her on her birthday, or I'll, include her in celebrations. Whether she comes or not, that's up to her. But I don't expect it. I don't hold her to anything. And even promises, she'll promise to do this or that, or no, I don't expect her to follow through on that, because you don't ever want to rely on a narcissist for anything. And that is the only way you can have a relationship with a narcissist. Yeah. So, you guys, those are the scenarios of what gratitude looks like for them and how they twist it and how they behave with other people, what they appreciate. That's why it looks like they appreciate these horrible people. They appreciate other narcissists if those narcissists appear to be on their side. Okay. And I know for them, they don't think it's just an appearance. They actually believe it. They think that this other narcissist has their back, is loyal to them, will take their side. But that's not the truth. We know that's not the truth. So don't get yourself so worked up when you see this unfairness, right? It's extreme injustice when it comes to narcissists and how they treat people. Total injustice. And for most people, and even the narcissists, they want justice. Of course, the narcissist wants justice in that the justice looks like the narcissist comes out ahead. That's justice to them. We want fairness. We want justice too. But do not ever expect that from the narcissist. It's just not going to happen. So now the other flip side of gratitude, right, is that when they do something for people, do they then expect gratitude? Even though they don't give gratitude, they don't show gratitude when you do things for them. And they don't keep a record of all the things you've done for them. They keep a record of all the things they've done for you. They keep a record of this debt that you owe them for the rest of your life. It's an unpayable debt. So whatever they do for you, it is not out of the goodness of their heart, and they just do it because they care about you. And, whatever you do with it, you do. And they just wanted to bless you. They just wanted to make you happy. That is not the reason they do things for you. They do things for you out of compulsion, because uh, they feel like it's expected and everybody else is watching, possibly, you know. But they also do it because they want to gloat over you or control you for the rest of your life. And they won't let you off that hook. You will always owe them. Even if it's, you've repaid it, and they'll remind you, but I did that for you. So let me go into this whole scenario of what that looks like. Let me see, you guys. There are a couple of comments here. I know you've been listening to my story, so there's not been a lot of comments. Gabriel, good morning. Strange Fruit, hi, good to see you. Strange Fruit says, I'm glad I am hearing this story. Gives my current family dynamic view validation. Dynamic view validation. Yes, you know, it is total crazy town. And this is why, some of you guys may not know this, but before I even knew about about narcissism, we would call my experience with my mom, my family, crazy town. And we, and I was like, yeah, I got to get out of crazy town. This is absolutely nuts. I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that it's causing me tremendous pain, and my heart is always breaking, and I'm always being attacked. And I don't understand why I cannot be in people's good graces. And I don't understand why we can't seem to get along, and I don't know what else I can do, and I continually feel like I'm sacrificing myself, my health, my mind, my finances, and I'm not feeling fulfilled. It's not bringing anything of worth into my life being with these people. And we would call it crazy town, where nothing makes sense. Up is down, down is up, wrong is right, right is wrong. There's nothing that's ever consistent. You can't, what they say, even the rules that they set are not consistent. So you can never follow their rules because they'll change it up. So we would just call it Crazy Town. And that's why this channel is called Escape from Crazy Town. Yeah, it is. It just, you look at your family and you're like, what the heck? This makes no sense. Why are you so mean? Why are you so evil towards each other? And it's total crazy town. Free Spirit, good to see you. He says, yes, all about appearance rather than actual genuine qualities. Amanda, good to see you. He says, I'm so amazed that you and my friends raised by narcissists don't end up that way themselves. It must be so hard to develop a moral compass. I would love to address that, and I will in just this. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and address that. That's why I talk about also people who appear narcissistic, but they're not narcissists. A lot of times people who appear narcissistic come from wounding. I think those are the ones that are made, okay? Narcissists or people who appear like they're narcissistic, those are made because of their wounding and their experiences. I know that in my life, I have behaved narcissistically. I have had bouts of anger and frustration and hurt and pain that drove me. And it drove me into, I don't want to say insanity, but yeah, you just feel completely controlled by it. And you don't know where this pain comes from, and you don't know why you're being destructive towards yourself. Generally, you're trying to destroy yourself, and those around you will get destroyed as well because you just hate yourself so much because all you know in your life is hatred towards you. So you hate yourself, and then even though in times of peace and when your mind is calm, you actually love the people around you. You actually see goodness in the world. But then when that pain comes up, everything just turns black. Everything is bad. Everything is wrong. Nothing is right. There is no justice. And you feel out of control. I've had that. I've had that in my life. And it's hurt mainly my husband, who had stuck by me through all of this, through all of my wounding and healing from that wounding. He saw where I came from, so he wanted to help me escape that. He didn't know how. We didn't know anything about narcissistic abuse. Um, and even though I behaved narcissistically towards him, and what I mean by that is narcissists don't notice who they're hurting. It's like they don't care who they're hurting. And those who behave narcissistically, we care who we're hurting, but we can't seem to control it. We can't seem to stop from hurting them because we're hurting so badly ourselves that we have explosions, or we will say these horrible, mean things to hurt somebody because we're feeling so much hurt ourselves, that we're trying to burn bridges. Even sometimes we're doing it because We don't feel like we deserve the love of somebody else. So we want to push them as far away from us as we can because we don't feel like we deserve to be loved or forgiven or, um, yeah, we just don't feel like we deserve it or that we're worthy. But when the healing comes, we change. When my husband learned to stand up to me and say, hey, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve you talking to me this way. I don't deserve I know you're frustrated, but I don't deserve you taking it out on me, what you're frustrated on about. And when he started standing up to me like that, it would like snap me out of this crazy um I I want to say like you feel like you're mesmerized. What is that called? It's like you're in this, it snaps you out of a trance, that you were in. And that trance is sort of like this overwhelming pain that you feel from being raised and abused for so long and being told that you're worthless and being treated like you're worthless. And you believe it. You've internalized it. And it hurts like hell. It just does. It hurts like you cannot even believe and you don't think that life is worth living. That's how much it hurts. And I have been there. I've been there for decades, actually. So it took me so long, um, and through the love of a good man and through God being able to show me that I I'm worthy. And not only that, but other people are not worthy of my anger or my pain or my woundedness. So I have to be careful with them and I have to be gentle and respectful of them. And that compelled me so much to change. I wanted so badly to change. I didn't want to treat people that I loved the way I was treated. I didn't want to do that, even though there were times I did. I did treat them that way. But then I regretted it and I felt such shame and I felt such guilt and I didn't know what was wrong with me. So, I appreciate you saying that, you're so surprised and amazed that people who've been raised by narcissists don't become like them. But a lot of times they do. A lot of times we do. And a lot of times, not only that, or most of the time, probably, I can't say most or a lot, but I know that we do tend to take on the traits of those who raise us. We learn their coping mechanisms. We learn their reactive, triggers. We learn these things, but we can unlearn them. That's the good news. We can unlearn them and we can actually have a fulfilling life. We can actually break free of that bond or that chain that the narcissist tried to put on us. I mean, I look at my life and I think it could have gone so badly for me. And it has, obviously, right? It has gone so badly for me as a kid, but it could have continued on into my adult life and ruined and robbed me of the rest of my life. And you know, I feel so emotional and like tears wanting to come out when I think about how I could have thrown away the rest of my life because of what I had experienced, because of what was done to me, because of how I was treated. I could have thrown away the rest of my life believing that it was taken away from me. Um, and that's why I want to try to help people to see that, look, whatever was done to you, it doesn't have to keep being done to you, especially if you're an adult now. If you're still a kid and you're still living in the house with these people, uh, I can't tell you what's the right way to get through it. For me, it was trying to bide my time. Like I knew once I turned 18, I'd be free of them and I could get out and I could do my own thing. I was too afraid to break out. I wish I wasn't. I wish that I had the courage at 14 to leave. I wish I had had the courage to, because at 14, you can get a job. You can work. It's, the child labor laws or whatever. You can work. And if you're working at 14, you can divorce your parents and you can rent an apartment, or you can go, rent a room out of a friend's house, a friend's parents' house. And you can break free. You can get a bicycle and get yourself to work, if you don't live in a tiny farm town or something that's hard to get to work. But there's always a way. I wish I had the courage to do that, but I didn't. I was so scared. And when you've been abused all of your life, you have no self confidence. You have no, well, at least for me, I know there are people, and I so highly respect them, who still somehow muster strength and confidence and courage to be on their own and fight for themselves. And from such a young age, take care of themselves and choose the right things. And you know what, you guys, do not run away from home thinking that somebody else is going to take care of you. Don't do that. Don't, yeah. If if you're being fed and you have a roof over your head, stay there. But if you're being, I don't know how to say this. The world outside might be even more dangerous than the world inside. So that's why I can't give you quite the advice, like what's best for you. But if you have the courage, go get a job. That's like the first freeing thing that you can do for yourself, is earning your own money. And once you start earning your own money, you can start taking care of yourself. And for those of you who have been and maybe still are tied to the narcissist in your life because you feel like they gave you a better financial life than you can give yourself, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Your freedom is so much more valuable than anything they could ever pay for you. So the abuse is not worth it. Gabrielle says, my narc always told me that she does more for me than I do for her. And when I confront her about it, she acted as if she did nothing wrong. Yes. Yeah. And like I said, whatever they do for you, it is an unpayable debt. You can never pay them back for this. And you have to continually pay them back for that one thing that they did for you. So you will always owe them. But whatever you do for them, they devalue it immediately. It's insane. It's like once they've used it, once they've benefited from it, and once it's gone, they don't feel like they owe you anything. And they don't remember it. They'll actually even forget that you've done stuff for them. And they don't, that's why they're not grateful to you. They just don't think that's a big deal. I want to say, give you this other example of how they view what you have done for them. So they don't remember what you've done for them, or they will diminish what you've done for them. So for instance, you give them $500, okay? Say you give them a loan of some sort, or to help them out of a bind. And the way they'll think of it is, well, it was nothing to you anyway. Like, even though they know you don't make a lot of money, but you had $500 saved up, they kind of feel like, well, it's nothing to you because you had it to spare. Right? Like, you didn't need it to live off of, so you weren't using it. So since you weren't using it, it was nothing to you. So to them, it was not a big deal that you gave them such a huge sum. It could have been $10,000 that you gave them, right, for bail, or to put a down payment on a house or something, right? They'll see it that if you had it sitting in your savings or available in your checking account and you weren't using it, then it was not that much anyway to you. So they kind of feel like it's not a big deal that you gave them all this money that was just sitting around in your bank account. I know, it just, my saying it just sounds so crazy, right? It doesn't even sound right. Another way that they will see it is that it didn't actually go far enough to help them, to actually help them, like out of their entire body. Say you gave them a down payment for their house. I know that's a lot of money, right? So that's why I stuck with maybe $500, or even if you gave them a $20 loan to, give so they could get lunch that day. They will think, well, it only bought me lunch that day. It's not like it bought me lunch all week. Okay, that's how they'll see it. Well, it only gave me some money for my down payment for my house. It didn't actually buy my whole house. So you see, they diminish whatever you give to them, whether it's $20 or $10,000. They're going to diminish whatever it was you gave them. Um, and also, another way that they see what you've done for them or what you've given them is that, well, it was so long ago. Like, why am I still supposed to be grateful for something you did 3 years ago? Come on, that down payment was 3 years ago. Or they might think, come on, you bought me lunch last week. What's the big deal? It was last week. See, whatever time amount it might have been for the amount of time it might have been, to them, it's so long ago. Why should they still be grateful to, I said thank you last week. So why should I care this week? Or yeah, that's how they see it. They just think it was so long ago and now it has disappeared from their ledger or their historical accounts. That's why I say that they keep a record of what they've done for you. So whatever they've done for you, even if it was 15 years ago, they will remind you, remember 15 years ago, I gave you $100. You know how much that $100 would be worth today? So actually what I gave you was $1,000. They'll see it that way. But if you gave them $500, right? 15 years ago, they're going to be like, $500? What's $500? That's like, a month's, groceries, big deal, in today's terms. $500 15 years ago, that's like $5,000 today. They're not going to do the same math on what they had done for you as what you've done for them. They're going to, the math is not, the scale is not the same. They do not use the same scale to measure what you've done for them and what they've done for you. So this is how they see what they've done for you and why they behave the way they do towards you and why they act as if you always will owe them. And just like, just like Gabrielle is saying, how his narcissist acts like she does so much more for him than he has ever done for her, because in their mind, what they did is a much greater sacrifice. And not only that, they've forgotten the things that you've done. They don't keep a record of things that other people have done for them, because then they'd have to be grateful for it, right? And they're not a grateful type of people. Megan, good to see you, says, most of my siblings ended up emulating my toxic parents. Sad. Yes. You know what? I think sometimes narcissists remain narcissists, the ones that are made, because their pain is so great that they have built up this bizarre world that they live in, this crazy town that makes sense for them. And, I, against all hope, I still try, I still have hope for them, but my logical side says, holy cow, they have built up this fortress brick by brick, I want to say assessing, but that's not quite right. Distorting stories, distorting the experiences they had in order to soothe their wounds, okay? They create these stories of how they're the victim and how other people have always victimized them and how other people are always the evil ones and they're always the angel. And brick by brick, they built this town, this entire town, and a fortress around it. So even if you come to them and you try to dispel, say, 100 of their deceptions, the stories they've told themselves, you still have the rest of the town. It's just 100 bricks. It doesn't even build a whole wall, that 100 bricks, So you would have to dismantle every thought they've ever had about themselves, about other people, every thought they've had about, or perception they've had about the experiences they've had. Um, Even an experience of going to the store, say somebody, um, say they're standing in line and it's kind of obvious to them. And maybe this line is not like easily discernible. The other day I was at a deli line, right, at Walmart. I was at Walmart and I was like, I wanted to get some sliced cheese. So I'm standing there and there's only two other people standing there too. And it's not like we stand in line one behind the other. We're all kind of scattered across the deli whatever display, right? Some are standing at the meats and some are standing at the cheeses and some are standing at, or one standing at the like pickles and whatever. They have salads and stuff that they prepare. So to the person behind the counter, they don't know who's first. So they'll say, they'll start addressing the person they think is first. And if the narcissist is standing there and they don't get acknowledged by that deli person behind the counter, they're going to feel great offense. Like, how dare you choose this person in front of me, Um, so that's one experience they're going to take with them, how they were victimized and how unjust the world was. And that's just one of their bricks that they start building their town with, how life has treated them badly, how other people have treated them badly, how other people did not recognize their specialness or the fact that they played by the rules or they were standing there first and they were overlooked, and it's a huge injury to them. So they carry these injuries one by one continually and onto the next experience and another, to the point where when they are treated well, when they are given special treatment over somebody else, they don't see it. They don't recognize it. They'll only see the part where maybe they didn't get as much recognition as this person once did before, even though they're getting recognition now, anyway, so it's, you think you want to help them wake up from this, but sometimes a narcissist is born through being treated or being raised by narcissists. Yeah. Let me think. Yeah, this is a good one. Amanda says, I think in my relationship, I heard the word so more times than I ever had in my life. Oh my gosh. Yes, exactly. They totally diminish whatever you've done for them. So when they expect gratitude from you and you say, well, wait, what about the time I filled up your gas tank for you? And they'll say, so, like I told you, no matter what you spend on them, no matter what you've done for them, it's not going to be as much as they have done for you. They've already forgotten it, whatever you've done for them, or they've already diminished what you've done once they've used it. Like, well, I used that gas last week. It's not like you filled up my tank this week, So to them, it's so, you didn't take care of everything for me, so why should? And even can you imagine if you did take care of everything for them? And I know of relationships like this where, oh my gosh, you see the public relationships, the public marriages of public figures, right? Where you obviously see the other person has done everything for the spouse, has taken them out of an impoverished beginning or whatever, right? And has given them a life of luxury. And yet this person will still feel like, so, like it wasn't enough. It just wasn't even enough. It's just insane. Gabriel says, thanks, Escape. I'm taking your advice and getting out, going to San Antonio, Texas for, PAC South flight leaves in a few hours. Need to drive to the airport. I'm kind of confused. Does that mean, like, because of what we're saying today, you're leaving just now? But you know what? Have courage, you guys. Whatever you do, have courage. Now, don't go without a plan. Have a plan. Have a job. Have something lined up. Not with somebody that you've never met before just because you interacted with them on the internet, you guys. Okay, don't be foolish like that. Don't be naive. There are wolves out there, and especially for runaways, be so careful. Don't run away. That's my suggestion. Don't run away, but have a plan, have a destination. Even some relatives that you don't know very well, sometimes those people are also wolves. So be careful of that. My thing is get a job. Even if you're still living at home, get a job. Get a bicycle and get yourself to that job and start. And you know what? You can open up your own checking account. Ride to the closest bank, or even probably there'll be a bank inside. There's a bank inside of every Walmart and every Target, I think. I could be wrong, but I thought that I've seen some. And you can set up your own checking account and start having your paychecks go straight into that so that your parents don't take it from you. I've seen that too, where parents will take it from their kids and demand it from their kids and demand their kids pay rent. Okay, go ahead and pay some rent. But as you know, save up enough money so that you can get your own place. That you have courage, and have a plan. Hopefully you also will have another person in your life that you can trust who has been there. um, Trying to think, like another sibling, possibly an older sibling, or but be very careful because there are wolves in every shape and form out there, even within a family. So be careful of that. uh, yeah. Emma says, I can't tell you how helpful this live video is to me, more than anything else I've read or listened to. Oh, I'm so glad. So glad, Emma. So, you guys, we are coming up on our hour and a half for Happy Crappy Hour. I'm so glad that you joined me today. I'm sorry if I somehow missed your comments. Sometimes I do. I'm not even sure how. But I'll go back and go, wait, when did that person get on? And why didn't YouTube show that to me? I don't know if they just hold back some comments or something. But so glad that you guys joined me. I hope that these happy crappy hours will help you. And the point of happy crappy hour is to learn from each other, even from the crappies, right? In our life, we learn from them and we can get stronger and we can alter our lives. We can take back our lives, you guys. So many, many blessings to you guys. I hope you have a great week. Go do something good for yourself. Go get a job. Go to the library and get some free lessons and something you'd like to learn. Go check out a book. Get a library card. I cannot push the library enough. I don't know why I didn't push that from the beginning. Yeah, I love libraries. I just love libraries. Um, it's so peaceful there, and it's usually very bright. If you hang out by a window, it's so nice. Get yourself a good place to be where you can start building up yourself again. Start finding who you are. Start learning about all the good things that are still out there in the world that's so worth living for, so worth doing. And stay connected, you guys. I want to hear back from you. I hope to see you in the comments. If some things happen or develop, let me know. And I will talk to you soon. I will see you next week on Happy Crappy Hour.